Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Wrestled for the 20th of March, 2018. I actually got the date right. I want to double check. I am correct. It is the 28th of March, the 20th of March, 2018. I just cannot stop fucking that up every night. Every night I fuck it up. Every single goddamn day. I fuck it up. But anyway, it's the 20th of March. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on today. We found more bombs out there in Austin. That's a horrible, horrible thing. And I hope they catch this son of a bitch soon. Because there's nothing worse than living in fear that the next time you open a package, it's going to contain some kind of incendiary explosive or some kind of homemade pipe bomb. And we've seen these sort of things happen before. One of the more interesting, and I use the term interesting because I like true crime, events surrounding this sort of story would be back in the 90s. There was a guy who was a document forger, right? And he was selling off all of these documents to the Mormon church. You know, all of these like, hey guys, these are totally 100% legitimately written by Joseph Smith. Now, when he started, I guess you could say feeling the heat a little bit, especially because of his partner as a lawyer or something, he decided to leave a pipe bomb out for him out front of his house. And his wife, the lawyer, and his wife's their child happened to pick up the explosion, and they died. And then a few days later, the man was killed outside of his office when the same kind of pipe bomb package was left outside the office. And then, in order to remove suspicion from himself, the document forger placed an explosive in his own vehicle and detonated it. When there was a city police officer who, like a meter maid, who was in proximity, in viewing proximity of the car, and he detonated it on himself, making sure he would survive, obviously, but as a way to throw off the scent of what might have gone down. So there is some crazy crap that goes on with bombs and shit, and that's not something you want to mess around with. And yes, I totally saw that I have not added in the date to the Russell title. I'm also trying to keep the character count a bit on the low side. We're going to wait to see. We're going to wait to see whether or not it gets busted because of the title of there's an obese woman found alive but rotting. It's an interesting story. It doesn't go necessarily the way you might think, but it's there. It's real. I've got a lot of stuff tonight. A great deal of things. And one of the things I'm trying tonight, I'm hoping that it works. So if you can't tell, especially if you're watching this on Twitch right now, you can in fact purchase bits. I'm now a Twitch affiliate. So if you'd like to donate to the show, you can do it that way. It's like Super Chat for YouTube, except I don't think they take 30%. So that's good. I'll take that. But also there's streamlabs.com/mundane Matt. Looks like we did get ourselves at least one Super Chat or one Streamlabs. I get stuck on that one. Unfortunately, I did try to set up what I thought was going to be an alert on screen that would have. Oh, there we go. I don't quite know what the fuck that thing is, but it totally, whatever that was, it totally killed the bit rates of the stream. Holy shit. Okay, we got 10 from the Digi. Thank you very much. I have no idea what any of that means. So I guess like 100 bits is $1. So thanks for the 10 cents. But hey, I'm not knocking it. It's a good thing. But anyway, here we did get one right off the bat. We did get one here right off the bat. Looks like we are getting hit with a little bit of lag. Should clear itself up here. Again, OBS has been a real pain in my ass. I think I'm just going to uninstall it and then rebuild the setup tomorrow because this thing's getting a little bit crazy. But anyway, it says here from Clink Clang Booms of Flavor, donated $1 through Streamlabs, saying, "Hi Matt, scrape my food truck idea." Oh, this is Claude Sandshark. Say, scrapped my food truck idea, now working on a cooking channel on YouTube with gaming research Twitch channel. It's the most cost-effective idea than the food truck restaurant. There you go. I'm trying to show the gifts. He says, why don't you show gifts, tip gifts? I'm new to this sort of thing. I don't entirely understand it. Thank you very much, Digi. When we go in to record the stories, this of course will be turned off. That's a little bit big. I might need to shrink that down a wee bit. I don't know where I'd put it though. You know, we're just gonna pop it in the top corner over here to the top left of the screen and see whether or not that has any impact or not. So there's that. So all right, so let us thank you, Crimson. This is so new. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I love it. This is fucking hysterical to me. Okay, so, but that really is fucking with the bit rate. It really is fucking with the bit rate. Like, holy shit. Or something is fucking with the bit rate, but that is having some problems. So we have to wait and see what's going on. Okay, so we just got a subscriber too. Cool. This could, we're gonna see if this has a problem. We could be dealing with technical problems all fucking night. I just reset my computer, so I know everything is fine with that. Google Chrome isn't on. Let me check out my task manager here. My CPU, my memory is okay. All right, I might need to might need to turn that down a little bit. So yeah, that is seriously killing the bit rate. I'm gonna fucking mute that shit. There we go. That's not gonna bother me none. That's how I like it. That's what's going on. But yeah. So if the bit rate's having problems, I might have to remove that. I don't want to. But if that's causing it, then that's causing it. So that's unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Not a fan of that at all. But okay. So we got ourselves. All right, ready to go on that one. And let me just double check all the stuff with the stories, make sure that's good to go. Okay, so we're going to start off tonight on a real down note, right? We're going to start off tonight on a real downer story. I'm just getting this out of the way. We're going to do the downer story first because it's an interesting story, but it's a downer story. And this is a story all about how this kid, this 16-year-old Florida kid, beat his friend to death with a baseball bat over a girl. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this ultimately is because I kind of get it, right? Like, not like I completely understand 100% what this boy was feeling because I've done it myself. Haven't done that. But I've been in situations where, you know, when it comes to a girl and you're a teenager, shit does get a little bit on the weird side. And unfortunately, that's kind of where the story, you know, I think almost anyone out there can ultimately relate to what caused the tension. Just clearly not the act, the follow through. So it says here, a 16-year-old Florida boy is suspected of beating his friend to death with a baseball bat, authorities said, alleging that the teen was jealous of his friend's relationship with a girl. Now, we've all been there, right? Doesn't matter what gender you identify as. You've liked somebody, your friend may have been dating that someone, and it can just get really freaking weird. Because how do you react around those people? How do you deal with that? You know, that's always a tough thing when your friend's dating the girl you like. And I've had that happen once before, and I understand where this kid's coming from. I just realized I had to get over it, not take my friend out back and whop him with this bat. I should have done that for other reasons, but we won't talk about that right now. Now, police say the suspect persuaded Giovanni Diaz, 15 years old, to go into a wooded area Monday afternoon, where the teen viciously beat and killed Giovanni with a baseball bat, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said at a news conference on Monday. He hit Giovanni at least 9 times. Now, cracking somebody in the skull with a baseball bat is, you know, something you might watch in The Walking Dead or other kind of violent movies, and it looks like a relatively easy act. And most of the time, when you hear stories of this kind of rage coming out and someone murdering somebody else, what generally tends to happen is it's like, you know, they just keep striking and striking. The rage takes over. And that's what I think kind of went down here. I think that this 15-year-old kid just got really mad and just beat the literal life. I can't even make a joke about that. It's not appropriate to make a joke about that. I don't want to be like Count Dankula, end up in Scottish jail for potentially a year. Now, as the suspect emerged from the woods, authorities say he told a witness, "I hit my friend with a baseball bat." The witness told the teen to go home and call 911. The suspect did so, allegedly confessing to hitting his friend with the bat. After he dialed 911, police say the teen gave an elaborate defense about protecting himself, which Sheriff Judd called a lie. Now, this is when you have that stage of, I guess, I don't know, the 5 stages of grief or whatever. You've got that fear. I don't know if there's 5 stages of grief. Maybe it is, but it's like that fear. This fear's kicking in. This kid just bludgeoned his friend, probably his best friend, right? That he may or may not had latent homosexual feelings for. Who's to say? But over a situation with a girl. And at that age, hormones are pumping, hormones are raging. Like, you see your friend with someone you like, and you're going to see feminists sit there and say, well, this is just nothing but toxic masculinity coming out in a violent form. We need to ban baseball bat. That's the only way to be sure. It's not going to stop anything. What this kid needed was counseling. He needed someone to talk to. He needed a way to process his feelings and his emotions, not take them out on his friend by taking his life. And that's the problem with these situations, is they could easily be avoided. I think we all can agree that, like, had someone stepped in and noticed something. Because this kid posted a lot of crazy shit to Facebook. Like, a lot of crazy stuff, like violent images on Facebook. Like, that's stuff that you could almost argue would be a clear warning sign, a clear indicator that there might be something a little bit off with this boy. So it's... That's what I'm saying. Okay, so it says here that the teen allegedly told a responding officer that he wailed on his friend with a bat. The suspect was taken into custody. At a news conference, Judd called the beating premeditated. He said Giovanni had relations with the girl a suspect liked, and that made him mad. Yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, like, here's the thing. If you were, okay, like, if you were kind of hitting on her or whatever, or like, and I don't want to say like you called dibs because that's kind of ridiculous, but at that age, it kind of does make sense. And this guy rolls up, your friend rolls up and kind of slides in and takes her. You get a little bit pissed off. You might punch him in the face or something. Or, I mean, you kick him in the nards or something like that. None of those things I agree with, but that would be more of an appropriate response ultimately. That's like boys fighting over girls is nothing new. It's I mean, with the Trojan War, right? So, that old story. So you got that whole thing, right? Where this kid could have done anything else, but he had gotten to a point where this was more than just he was mad at his friend. Now, police said the suspect told someone several days ago, "I wonder what it's like to murder someone." Yeah, when that whole thing gets kind of brought up, you might want to again sit there and go, "Oh, what's your name?" Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna call your parents, like, real quick. Hold on a hot moment on that one, because it just feels like that. Now, the sheriff released a suspect's name, but ABC News is not naming them because he is a minor. But you named the victim. I just find that to be interesting. I mean, I understand why. I mean, we're kind of in this weird phase right now where no one wants to say the name of the person who committed the act, therefore not giving them publicity, not giving them anything else. And I understand that, right? I understand that. But at the same time, what we're dealing with here is a 15 or a 16-year-old kid who was mad at his 15-year-old friend for hooking up with a chick or having relations with the woman that he liked, and then his act was to be violent. I'd almost argue that for the memory of the kid who died, you would want to withhold that information because he's also a minor. So I don't get some of these arguments sometimes. I really don't. Now, the suspect is homeschooled while Giovanni, an 8th grader, attended a middle school, but both lived in the same community. The suspect referred to them as friends, Judd said, adding that they'd known each other for a long time. Now, I think, like, I've known a lot of homeschooled kids. They're kind of weird. And if you're homeschooled and you take offense at that, I'm not necessarily sorry because a lot of you are pretty weird, but you're weird and it's not your fault that you're weird. Part of the whole aspect of going to school is the socialization of children. Every single homeschooled kid I knew, and I've known a lot, have never been able to fully integrate into a group of people in the beginning because they spend all that time at home. They're not around other kids. They're just not, right? And this is a problem, that socialization. So what you've got here is you've got a kid who is homeschooled, who liked a girl, whose friend was with that girl. And I think I'm not trying to say homeschooling causes you to bludgeon your friend to death with a bat. Of course not. But I'm saying I understand the response. I think that's the over response to it kind of makes some sense based on what I've known and what I've experienced with homeschool kids in my own life. It's one of the reasons why that, like, I have friends nowadays that are just like, I'm never sending my child to public school. And I'm all like, mine is going extreme, maybe private if I have the freaking money, but definitely public, because you gotta socialize the kids. I cannot stress that enough. That's my take on it. You might have a different take, and that's okay. But like, again, I have cousins who are homeschooled, and like every time I see them every Christmas, they just get weirder. They just get weirder, and then it's just, maybe this is my take on it. At no point in time am I trying to make light of the situation. This is tragic. This is sad. So there's that. Now, the victim had no run-ins with the law, but the suspect was charged 2 years ago with 2 counts of battery for allegedly battering 2 people, including Giovanni. So this kid had already had run-ins with the law. He'd already beaten up on his friend before, and he was already a troublemaker. So he'd already been down the path of being violent. And again, posted crazy stuff on Facebook. Says here also, he was also charged with domestic battery last year for allegedly battering his father. So he beat up people years ago, including this Giovanni kid. Then he also beat up his dad last year. He's got anger issues. He's got problems. Maybe the parents thought that if they homeschooled him, they could keep him under control. But what happens when you, and I don't, again, this is going to be an odd terminology here, but just kind of go with me. What happens when you kind of cage that beast for so long? And I'm not referring to the suspect as a beast, but I'm saying like that mentality, that adolescent rage, that adolescent energy, maybe, that doesn't ever get fully released, I mean, like, I'm just saying, if you're gonna homeschool a kid and they get to be that age, get him some porno mags and a fleshlight. Just hold the door shut, like, just let them work it out on their own, sort of thing, because that could release all the energy in the world. Because that's kind of what this feels like. This feels like built up sexual tension. But it came out in like the worst possible freaking way. The suspect has also been charged with 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of possession of marijuana. The police are requesting that he be tried as an adult, and the state attorney's office will make that decision at a later time. And honestly, yeah, I think he should be treated as an adult. This is obviously the kid right here. Looks like a normal enough kid, but you can see some anger in those eyes. You can see some anger in those eyes. Now listen, I don't want anyone to think that I'm making light of this, and I want to just reiterate that point one more time. But when you talk about these issues and you talk about these things, it just kind of feels like there's always that hook. You know what I mean? There's always that line where you're like, oh, right. To me, there's 2 of them here. One's the homeschool. That's also, look, I should just be honest, I'm also pretty anti-homeschooling, so there's that too. And I've kind of made that abundantly clear previously with my comments. But there's that, and then there's also the fact that this kid had previously acted out violently and within the last couple of years. And he had posted violent stuff to his Facebook. And no one said anything. And we just had that situation in Parkland, Florida, where this kid had been weird and he had done and said certain things. And people did say something, and there was a failure to act on the police's part. It shows you that there is a bit of a broken system in regards to this, in regards to how we handle these situations. People are either too afraid to say something, or they say something and nothing ever gets done. But at the end of the day, you have an 8th grader who is dead because he liked a girl. And that is tragic, beyond belief. It just goes to show you that if you have kids in your life, explaining to them relationships, explaining to them that things don't always work out the way that they want, they need to manage their expectations. And yes, if you get angry over something, and you have a baseball bat, take it out on a tree. Don't take it out on your friend. Or politely ask your parents for a fleshlight and an unfettered access to Pornhub. At least then the only thing you're beating up on is yourself. I'm going to catch a lot of crap for that one, I guarantee you. Holy crap. Holy crap. Just tossing a fleshlight. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. I'm just saying. It's tragic. All right. Double check all that. Cool. Bitrate seems to be holding now, hopefully. So, I'm just saying I'm just not a big fan of homeschooling. Just I went to church. I used to go to church. Everyone there was homeschooled for the most part. Like a lot of the kids my age are all homeschooled. They were all weird. I'll tell you guys a quick story before we jump into it. Kind of explain. So, kind of explain this whole situation here. So, give you my thoughts. I didn't want to say it in the video, but I'll tell you guys here. So, when I was 15, I was going to a Calvary Chapel church in Portland, Oregon. And there was this girl who was 13, and she was homeschooled. Her name was Sonia. No idea where she is now. Do not even care. But both my friend and I liked her. And she knew it. And she played both of us. She did. She did. She super did. Right? She would like ask to come over to my friend's house. But she would make sure to like call me and say, "Oh, I'm going over to Brian's." And then her and Brian would like sneak off somewhere. It would just be the three. It was like a weird kind of power dynamic, I think, at the time. We were 15. Summer when we were 15. Now, I don't know if anything happened between Brian and Sonia. I don't really care at this point. But one day, she calls me up. Okay, she calls me up and she tells me, point fucking blank, "I want you to impregnate me." And I'm like, what? Like, are you kidding me? And she's like, "No, I want a baby. I want you to put it in me." And I'm like, "You're 13. And she's like, "Yeah, and?" And I'm all like, "I'm 15. And she's like, "Yeah, and?" And I'm all like, "Does that not seem like a bad thing? Just in general, does that not seem like a bad thing?" And she's all like, "Well, no, I want a child." And the reason why she wanted a child, for one, she was entering puberty, all that jazz. But two, she worked in the nursery at the church. So she was around kids all the time. And she wanted a baby. I think she just, like, her family was really fucking weird. They were Jehovah's Witnesses that were converted to Christians. All weird. All weird. So anyway, I tell her no. Not going to get you pregnant. Not going to happen. Okay. And so then weird things started happening to me at church. I started getting in trouble for stuff. I started getting called out for things. I started having these wild accusations made against me on behalf of her, right? She would go to the pastor because the pastor personally converted them from Jehovah's Witness to Christianity. And so they were like his pet project, right? So she went to them and she was all like, "Matt he's harassing us. He's calling us at 3:00 in the morning and hanging up. Prank calls happened. I was there. I'm not the one who made the phone call though. That was my friend Brian and my other friend Manny, but I was there. I never did it myself, but they did." Then they said stuff like, "Oh, yeah, he was throwing chairs at us, at her and her younger brothers. Like, I was going into one of the rooms, and I was throwing chairs at him. Like, why the fuck would I do that? Like, why the fuck would I do that? It makes, like, no goddamn sense to me." But she was telling him all this. And then her brother, because her brother was, like, 5, was like, "Yeah, it's like throwing a chair." And I'm like, I never fucking did that shit. Anyway, the final straw was when she told people that I had held a knife to her throat and forced her to make out with me. Now, for one, that's absolute bullshit. I think I kissed her once on the cheek or something, but that was it. But that story she had told Brian and I when we first met her, that there was a kid who used to go to the church because we were both kind of new. And there was this strip mall that was right next to the church, and we could all walk behind the strip mall and go back there and, smoke our cigarettes and drink, which we did. The 90s were fun. But she told us a story of how there was a guy who went back there with her, and he put a knife to her throat and wanted her to make out with him. So she used that same exact line about me on them. And of course they bought it. Hook, line, and fucking sinker. They bought it. Because she's manipulative. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised right now if she is very well-to-do in regards to everything. Would not be surprised. And so there's that. So I wouldn't say that. So anyway, basically, I ended up getting booted out of the church. And I'd been into this church for like 2 fucking years. And I liked it. That was like the last time I went to church. Ever since then, I was like, fuck that shit. Right? And people told me, oh, no, you just gotta give it over to the Lord. Let the Lord guide you back to the church. That church is not for you. Like, that church is freaking listening to a crazy girl trying to make up lies about me and shit. The reason why I'm telling you all this is because, man, she was fucking homeschooled, man. They all were. The pastor's daughters were homeschooled. They were fucking crazy too. Not as crazy as fucking Sonia. Oh, no. She took the cake. But they were like, dude, for real and shit. I had another friend of mine, homeschool kid. Good guy, Andy. I worked with him over at Subway 20 years ago now. And he was homeschooled. Okay. And this is interesting. So he had trouble meeting friends. So that was like his first job. And we all kind of like took him in. He's a nice kid. Kind of socially awkward and stuff. But he called me up one night, sobbing, bawling his eyes out. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong, man? Like, what's going on? And he wanted to confess to me that he had done something bad. And I'm like, oh shit. 3 a.m. phone call with a confession. Uh-oh. What it was is he had just graduated high school, got his GED, right? Or a certificate of completion, one of those things, at the age of 16. So he was done with school. He was at this point. That's why he's working at Subway. Done with school and shit. However, his mom was his homeschool teacher. And his mom would give him the tests. And he would always ace the tests. He would always do really well. And, you know, she was so proud. She's like, I'm teaching my son. My son is learning. He's got his GED or whatever the fuck equivalent of it is. Except what he would do is he would cheat. She'd give him homework. He'd wait for her to go to bed. He'd go and find the book with all the master answers in it. And just copy it all down. He would do that for all of his tests. He cheated all through homeschooling. Now, I actually give him a bit credit there because that's actually a smart play. But he felt completely riddled with guilt as a result of that. And that is why, you know, like he called me to confess and stuff. Now, I haven't talked to him, like, you know, a long fucking time. So I have no idea what he's up to, you know. But based upon my experiences in my youth of dealing with homeschool kids at the age of about 15 and 16, which is when I had my predominant interactions with them, they were like all fucking crazy, man. They were just all out there. And it's not that they're bad people. This kid clearly is a bad person. But that's the thing. So, yeah, I am very much anti-homeschooling. Because I think this kid wouldn't have done what he done if he wasn't homeschooled. I just think this kid would not have done what he did. So, you know, it's one of those things. So, what's the over under on him being on drugs now? I got no idea, man. I got no freaking idea. One you can add to fill the cup up. Thanks a lot. So, I know ultimately homeschooling has nothing to do with this, but I think homeschooled kids are fucking weird. That's never going to change. They just, like, send them off to school. At least get them into sports or something. Everyone I've ever met's always been so freaking restricted. Confined. You know? Like, we're not living in, like, ye olden days where it's a 20-mile hike to school and you got to rely on the knowledge Pop learned when he was off fighting the Frenchies or some shit. It's not needed in this society, in my opinion. But socialization is the key. So, that's all I want to say about that. Okay. So, now that I've alienated a lot of the audience, which is ultimately not my intent, but tends to be a tends to be a thing, I guess, we can jump back into the stories here. Let me just bring everything back up. I just want you guys to know, like, look, I in no way am I trying to say this is a good thing. I've got my reasons, so I'll give you guys my particular perspective on it, so then we have an understanding. So there's that. Cool. All right. So one Kappa 1 for the weird kids. I'm still trying to figure all this crap out, so we will definitely go from there. Okay, where are we at now? Facebook is so fucked right now. Facebook is 100% fucked. Right? You wasn't really paying attention after Crazy Girl? That's okay. It's okay. I have the memory of Sonia, and that's enough to keep me up at night. And to make me just really not ever want to go to church. There we go. I want to make sure I'm back in the center. I was kind of like off like this. Like, hey, what's up? What's going on, everyone? You see this shit? All right. Homeschooling seems to be an American thing. Yeah, it pretty much does. All right. So, snaps or traps, guys? Yeah. Snaps or traps? I got a haircut. I'm looking kind of cute. Press 1 in the chat if you think so. All right. Serious face. Time to work. All right. Facebook has had a very bad week. I talked about Facebook yesterday, the whole Cambridge Analytica thing, and how it is blowing up in their face. It is not going over well. And even though the Cambridge Analytica thing may or may not be as bad as some people are trying to claim that it is, we don't know yet until the full investigation takes place. Facebook is very much feeling the fallout of this, and to the tune of like a $50 billion drop in their stock. And they're now being sued by shareholders over this particular fallout, because the shareholders that helped make them an extremely wealthy company are now basically going like, we want the hell out of here. So Zuckerberg, pay us, you goddamn robot. So it says here, Facebook share value has been in a tailspin as the depths of its irresponsible data handling have become known to the world. Salting that wound is a class action lawsuit filed today in California's Northern District on behalf of the social media giant shareholders. And considering the fact that a lot of those shareholders probably live in the Silicon Valley region, they've got money. Fan 1, the shareholder who filed the suit, accuses Facebook of making materially false and or misleading claims about the company's handling of user data, meaning the instances where Facebook or Zuckerberg himself have addressed privacy and security issues and failed to disclose the ongoing Cambridge Analytica fiasco. And he's not kidding on that one either. I mean, like, Zuckerberg has basically gone into like power down mode, right? Like he's just like off somewhere recharging his batteries that, you know, Elon Musk sent him or something. And even Sheryl Sandberg has kind of gone like quiet, and Congress has stepped up and they're like, so this is a thing. Why don't you come out to DC and let us have a chat? Now, Cambridge Analytica is certainly the most pressing of many scandals Facebook is currently embroiled in. The shady analytics firm is believed to have gained access to personal data from around 50 million Facebook users, which it employed to inform online ad spending and influence elections. And even that's kind of like, from my understanding, iffy. You know, which they did get the people's data, which they themselves claim to have deleted, but I don't really think that they did. I mean, honestly, why would you delete that data and everything else? But they also, like, you have to ask yourself, how much of the election did they influence, considering they're trying to refer to Trump? And if I recall correctly, they weren't even the firm that was being used at the time. And I could be wrong, but I think like they worked for Ted Cruz and they worked for Trump, but they didn't finish the election or something. It wasn't as big of a deal, I think, as people making it out to be. That's not the point. The point is the 50 million, you know, people's users' profiles and their friends and all that data that was collected for the purpose of data mining for profit. Now, earlier today, New York and Massachusetts demanded Facebook turn over information regarding Cambridge Analytica, and Congress people are increasingly calling for Zuckerberg himself to testify. Cambridge Analytica, meanwhile, suspended its CEO Alexander Nix today over remarks recorded by British television station Channel 4 News, which feature Nix apparently speaking out about entrapping politicians using sex workers. Oh yeah, that's been everywhere. You know, it's like, hey, we could send over some Ukrainian girls because they're hot. It's like, yeah, they are, man. I've looked at some of those mail order bride sites, so you clearly barking up the right tree for that kind of honey trap. But at the same time, it's completely unethical. You don't care because Bannon was a key shareholder. So yeah, ethics don't mean crap. One suit, which represents a class of unknown size, alleges that failures to disclose the ongoing situation with Cambridge Analytica have reduced the value of shares he and others hold in the company. He's asking to award damages unspecified and any other amount the court deems proper. Now, it says here that Facebook has declined to comment on the suit and pointed us instead to a prior statement by Facebook VP and General Counsel Paul Grewal, saying here, "We are committed to vigorously enforcing our policies to protect people's information. We will take whatever steps are required to see that this happens." So, and then here's the whole freaking suit. I'm not going through the whole suit, but what you've got is a situation where Facebook is screwed. I mean, they're screwed. Congress has been a little bit iffy on Facebook anyway, considering the whole situation involving, Russian influence and interference over the 2016 election by engaging in very top-notch and well-organized meme warfare, which even though it's like they used Facebook's system to get what they wanted ultimately. And this is the thing, is you can't really fault them for using a system that's in place for everybody. They just happen to manipulate it quite well. And I saw some of their memes, top notch. But what you're seeing now is a big move to have people delete Facebook. I did talk about that a bit last night, but here we've got the WhatsApp co-founders telling everyone to delete Facebook. Yeah. And Facebook bought his app for $16 billion. Now, keep in mind, people who are deleting Facebook aren't deleting their Instagram or their WhatsApp. They're all connected. They all share the same, back end corporate sponsorship. It's not really back end. I mean, it's just, no, it is back end. It's not shady or nothing. This is what they're owned by. But it says here that in 2014, Facebook bought WhatsApp for $16 billion, making its co-founders Jan Koum and Brian Action very wealthy men. Koum continues to lead the company, but Action quit earlier this year to start his own foundation. And he isn't done merely with WhatsApp. In a post on Twitter today, he told his followers to delete Facebook, saying it's time. And then use the hashtag delete Facebook. Acton, who is worth $6.5 billion, did not respond to comment. Now, if you've got a guy who made $6.5 billion off of a Facebook buyout, telling you to get the hell out of there when like his former business partner still works there, there's a problem there. Facebook, I don't know how they're going to survive this. I don't know how they're going to come out on top of this, if at all possible. The only thing they could do right now, in my opinion, would be to settle the class action quietly, give them literally whatever they want, make them go away. They've lost $50 billion in value. What's a few $100 million more, to be honest with you? I'm speculating. I have no idea if that's going to be what it's going to be. But anyway, just make that go away. And then go before Congress, testify before Congress, and be like, this will never happen again. And they're going to, here's the thing. Eventually, Facebook is going to have to submit to government oversight. Social media, to an extent, is going to have to submit to some form of government oversight. I don't know what that's going to be yet. I don't know what capacity it's going to show up, but it's going to happen. Congress has been kind of wanting it for a while, and you can tell by some of their actions. So I think that's going to be the next step. This is bad. Because if Cambridge Analytica has that data on 50 million people on a platform that houses over 1 billion monthly active users, who else has the data? And whether is the United States government going to send in a digital auditing team or a forensic team to go in and determine whether or not other companies have been able to access this data and how much money they paid to get access to that? Because there's always been that fear with Facebook that Mark Zuckerberg has been able to profit off of your personal data. It's not even really a fear. It's a fact. We know this. most people are willing to look the other way because it's usually not that big of a deal. But when you start looking at how far down into the rabbit hole it goes, it gets pretty freaky. And the fact that we've seen this alleged, it's not even a breach. Facebook is like, don't call it a breach, but they've this collection through an app that people allowed them, you know, not reading the terms of service or anything else like that, but allowing them to get access to in order to take a personality test. You know, which Powerpuff Girl are you? Who on Sex and the City are you going to be? Which friend are you? Would you survive The Walking? I mean, any one of those things, essentially. It goes to show you that people don't read the terms of service, and it's going to bite them in the ass. And to just kind of bring it to a more culturally relevant point, there's an episode of South Park that I think summarizes this well in terms of satire, and that is the Human Sent to iPad episode. And if you've seen that episode, you know what I'm talking about. You don't read the terms of service. You find out, you know, you end up asking yourself, do you want the vanilla paste or the cuttlefish? Kyle, do you want the vanilla paste or the cuttlefish? Vanilla paste. Cuttlefish? No vanilla paste. Oh, okay, cuttlefish. Oh, Kyle, here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, Kyle, I believe in you, Kyle. I believe in you. I fucking love that episode. I love that episode. I'm just saying, it's there's a lot of shit going on right now, man. Facebook is fucked in a half. They are fucked in a half. So, yeah. Oh my God. I'm just saying. It's pretty bad. Okay, let me get the next one here. This one. All right. This is a fucking weird one. I'll probably just save this one for the goddamn weekend, but this is a weird one here. So, what's going on? Hold on, let me take a look at this. What's going on in the chat? What are you fuckers up to? Let's see. How many stories? I've only done 2 so far. I've got a couple more to go. Another Streamlabs. Okay, thank you very much for that one. Did it come through on here? There's a delay. There's a delay on here by a few seconds, so I may not see it just yet. And anything that comes through while I'm recording doesn't pop up. I've made sure of that one. Okay, so Claude Sandshark here says Facebook is the pot calling the kettle black, in the Cambridge analysts, because let's be real, Facebook basically doing something, but with ads, which why don't Twitch bits ad in your channel? Kiss you for everything, too big to break up and not regulate. I don't know. Are you saying, oh, why don't Twitch bits add to this bar down here? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much that is. That's so I guess I don't know. I don't know how any of this fucking shit works. I've gotten 54 bits so far, so I don't know what any of that really means. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it all out. Okay. All right, let's jump into the next one here. This is one that's it speaks to me because I worked at a theater. All right. You know, I've spent 14 years of my life working for movie theaters, and during my tenure, we've encountered 2 bodies, but neither of them had anything to do with something like this. One was just cardiac arrest, and the other one was a homeless guy who froze. It was tragic. Anyway, man here suffers cardiac arrest while getting head stuck under the View Cinema seat in freak accident. I should point out, well, yeah, they're about the same. But the guy who died of cardiac arrest worked there for me, so this guy was a customer. Yeah, anyway. So a cinema chain, View, has launched an investigation after a filmgoer whose head reportedly became wedged under an electric footrest suffered cardiac arrest. When I first read the sentence, I thought to myself, how would that even remotely happen? But then going to the theater now, they're trying to entice people who want a luxury, grade A, 5-star experience. That's what they want. They want you to come in and spend more of your money there to get these reclining seats. And the seats are very nice. I do quite like them. But how the guy would get stuck under there is actually kind of easy when you think about it. Because, well, he was trying to get his phone out. Lifted up the thing, reached under, probably grabbed onto to the seat rest for support, and just started pushing the button down, and it just started crushing him, and he couldn't get to it. I mean, that's literally probably the simplest explanation, and it still doesn't make it any better. That's probably what happened. Now, paramedics were able to restart the man's heart when they arrived at View Cinema at Birmingham Star City Leisure Complex last week. It is thought the freak accident occurred when the man tried to collect the phone that had been dropped between the cinema's new gold class seats at the end of the movie. Because let's face it, how many times have you gone to a movie and you've lost your phone, or you've lost your wallet, or I don't know, your wallet, but keys, change, money, whatever? Trust me, when I used to work at the theater, we would very much love to find your money. So to all people out there who go see movie theater or go to movies, feel free to drop more of it on the ground. Those kids make shit. But, I mean, even the other day, I saw Tomb Raider, and I get really dry hands, so I always carry a little bottle of Gold Bond here. And the cap had come up in my pocket, and when I reached to go get it, it disappeared. I mean, it just fell off my leg and disappeared. I couldn't find it for about 5 minutes until it had somehow found itself wedged into the seat cushion. Right? I don't know how it got there. But it was like way down, and like I have no freaking idea. So yeah, things can get lost there, and people can get their heads stuck underneath. It's not as far-fetched as you might think. Now, sources say that the Birmingham Mall, or told the Birmingham Mail that the victim, who was with his partner, was only freed after the footrest was broken by those trying to help him. I wonder if it just was a malfunction and there was a thing there. The West Midlands Ambulance Service confirmed that it was called to reports of a patient in cardiac arrest at Star City on Friday, March 9th. The ambulance service spokesperson said crews arrived on scene to find a man in cardiac arrest, with bystanders having already commenced CPR. Ambulance staff took over and administered advanced life support, successfully managing to restart this man's heart. And that's awesome. Because the way that the title of the article sounds is like the dude died, which he didn't. Which is good. Very good. She said, we can confirm, or no, the spokesperson for the cinemas confirmed the incident took place, saying we can confirm an incident took place on Friday, March 9th, of which a full investigation is underway. We are committed to helping and assisting those involved and respect the wishes for their privacy and no publicity. So that's interesting stuff right there. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, be careful when you go underneath, right? Just be careful when you end up going into a theater and crawling underneath. It's gonna get to the point where you're gonna start going to the theaters with a buddy system in place. I feel like, all right. I just saw the headline. I grabbed the article. I did not read that, so I'm not even gonna that's not even gonna be a video. That was short. That was nothing. Okay, let's talk about the so, glad to know he lived. One death doesn't enough. Yeah, this next one, here's a crazy one about the rotting woman. We're going to talk about that. All right, I've accumulated 123 snaps. Awesome stuff. All right, this ought to be interesting here. This might make you guys a little bit on the ill side. So, okay. Snaps and chaps, because this is what I'm actually recording. As a rotund American, and I am a big guy, it's fine, you can admit it, I hear it all the time. One of my biggest fears, I'm not even kidding you, is getting so large that I become bedridden and unable to move or do anything besides, eat, sleep, and shit. That's really about how it gets in some of these cases, and it always bothers me when I turn on, TLC and you see an ad for My Big Fat Fabulous Life. Like, no, stop that. Stop that. Fat acceptance is not something you should be pushing for. Health is what you should be pushing for. So when I see a story like this, it's horrible, it's tragic, and it does make you kind of judge it right off the bat. It really makes you kind of just go, oh, I already know where this is going, sort of thing. But at the same time, I do have empathy for the people involved in this one because it can't be easy. Now, a father and son in Georgia were arrested after their bedridden mother was found barely alive in her bed, decomposing with maggots and cockroaches crawling on her. Now, like I said, I have a little bit of empathy here, but still, the situations of which they were holding this person, they're just nasty. They're gross. They're terrible, right? Like, I mean, you clean up that shit, man. Cockroaches will go away if they have nothing to look after. That's how you get rid of them. Now, in Sugar Hill, Georgia, a woman was found alive in her bed, her legs decomposing and covered in maggots. Now, the caretakers, her husband, Terry Sorrell, and son, Christian Sorrell, are facing felony charges of neglect of disabled or elderly person. Yeah, you can kind of figure that with the fact that, you know, her legs are decomposing and covered in maggots. Clearly something is rotten in Denmark. Gwinnett County Fire and Emergency. Service workers discovered the woman whose name has not been released when they were dispatched Thursday to the home in the city of about 22,000 residents, 35 miles northeast of Atlanta. When they arrived, they found an obese woman unconscious and near death, according to the incident report. Her present condition has not been released. About a month ago, the same crew had been to the house for home transport from the local hospital. Because of her weight, they used a mega mover, a lightweight stretcher used for moving larger patients. So what this tells me, just because they're not giving her current condition or how much she weighed, that this woman, to use medical terminology, was a biggin. I would say that's probably about accurate there. And, you know, she needs this type of large stretcher to get around. I mean, you see these things on documentaries and TV and stuff. And it's just sad because it's like you ask, how did a person get to that point? You know, you kind of go judgy. And as a fat person, we judge the hardest. But also it's something you don't ever want to see, you know. So that question of why and how always comes to mind. But there's also the question of, what's it like to live with that person? What's it like to be in that situation? What's it like to be a caretaker for them? And what happens if you can't really do it to the best of your ability? Or you just can't really do it at all? And that's kind of what this story effectively comes around. Now, the patient was still, the EMTs left a patient transport unit, a tarp-like plastic sheet, reinforced with nylon web straps at the home in February, according to the report. When they arrived Thursday, the stretcher, which is normally white, was covered in feces, and it was discolored brown and black. So we're talking a month here that this woman had been effectively strapped to this chair. And it was covered in shit. And it was discolored black and brown. So either the people who were looking after her ran into some serious problems, or they just stopped caring. Now, the patient was still on top of the mega mover they used a month ago, the incident report read. The woman's legs showed signs of decomposition, including a black color that is an indicator of dead tissue. She was covered in maggots and cockroaches that were eating her flesh, according to the report. That is a horrible life right there. That is a horrible existence. I mean, I can be critical of a person's size, but I don't want them to live in that kind of condition. So I have to ask the question, what would bring them to this? Like, what would get it to that point? How bad could things possibly be to where a sponge on a stick is simply just not an option anymore? Right? That's I think a valid question. Her rescuers did not believe she would live much longer and felt a moral obligation to report this. Well, yeah, obviously there'd be a moral obligation to report it. You know, I mean, they're going to walk in and go, ooh. You want to go to Hooters? Yes, no, don't worry about this. But we go get like 28 hot wings and just, you know, we are never here. What kind of, like, I mean, I understand the concept there. We felt there was, we had a moral obligation to say something. You're EMT, right? You're EMT. You've got a moral obligation to do a lot in this particular case. Calling 911 is clearly one of the priorities, but at the same time, pour some hydrogen peroxide on that damn shit. Now, son Christian Sorrell told the police who began an investigation that he and his father were his mother's sole caretaker. She had been bedridden for nearly 2 years, and it had been getting worse. And I'm wondering if that's ultimately it. It was just that breaking point. People have the breaking point, right? You can't always fault them for succumbing to those kind of, I guess you could say, ills, right? Those mental breakdowns. And it could just be too much. And if it's becoming worse, then it's just, people sometimes get to the point of saying, why bother? Now, this is not a case where you should have done that, period. And again, I'm not trying to explain away anything that they did or to justify anything that they did. I'm saying that from an empathetic standpoint, I can see it from that perspective. I could entirely be wrong, and they could be the scummiest people on the damn planet. But that's what I'm wondering here. Now, it says that garbage surrounded the bed where she was lying, and trash was strewn elsewhere in the apartment. Every room in the house was crawling with cockroaches, meaning these guys didn't care. Now, look, every apartment I've lived in has had cockroaches. Every single apartment I've lived in has had cockroaches. All of my friends' apartments have had cockroaches. If it's an apartment building, they be everywhere. All right? Like, all it doesn't take is one neighbor leaving they shit out. Cockroaches come, and then they spread like an infectious plague. And they decompose the building like those maggots were working on a woman's legs. It's bad stuff, but it's not nothing like a little bit of Raid can't kill, or, a professional. But still, trash was everywhere in the apartment. Every room was crawling with cockroaches. This is their den. This is if you were playing a game of Fallout, you're going into a rad roach nest. This is where you're going, right? Now, the husband's room had a 2-foot pile of energy drinks. I drink those, but yeah, you could tell people just stopped caring. A 2-foot high pile of energy drinks? Jesus, dude. Now, this is the thing. It says no one in the family had jobs and finances were tight. But my empathy is starting to wane a little bit here, just to be on the fair side, or on the clear side. So they didn't have jobs. Finances were tight. They didn't look after her. Didn't even douse her with warm water and a sponge to make sure she was okay. Didn't bring in the car jack and tip her up on her side in order to, power wash out the undercarriage. None of that. But they had enough money to purchase energy drinks. But at the same time, energy drinks are addictive. And people will justify an addiction. That's just the case. Both men continue to be incarcerated in Gwinnett County Jail in Lawrenceville, Georgia, under a $22,000 bond. And these are what both men look like. Yeah, looks like they're from Georgia. The thing is, you've got this situation where this woman was subjected to something that was absolutely inhumane. And as a result, the decomposing tissue, if they're not able to skin graft it or whatever, I don't know if you can. I'm just kind of guessing you can. She's going to lose the legs. Now, there's going to clearly be jokes in the comments of, that's one way to lose weight. But at the same time, her dignity is gone. Her dignity is completely gone. Her name is being withheld, but anyone on there could probably find those two men, do a quick Google search, and determine who their mama is, and then know who she is. And the thing is, dignity sometimes is all we have. And if you give up, which is what it feels like here more than anything, it's just that people gave up. If she's been bedridden for 2 years and wasn't showing no signs getting better, and even had to have the EMTs come in with a mega mover in order to get her from point A to point B, maybe everyone just hit their breaking point in the worst possible way. And so they just left her to rot. It's tragic. It is. Now, my question, to kind of wrap this whole thing up, is going to be whether or not the fat acceptance movement rallies around this woman and pushes her up like a hero who's been victimized. And I have a feeling they might. Not 100%, but I have a feeling. What the fuck? Sorry. Okay. My phone was buzzing off. It was just news alert. Apparently, hey, Mark Zuckerberg's going to go to Congress. So there's that. All right. And I hope they don't. Because this is not a woman who needs to be heralded as a hero for the plus size movement. This is a woman who needs to effectively get her dignity back. And that's going to come with acknowledging the situation that she's in and doing everything in her power to get out of it. And if there's one shining nugget, one little ray of sunshine in all of this darkness, it's going to be the wake-up call that's going to come from the aftermath of it. And I do only wish her the best. I'm saying that's... Hold on, my phone's like really blown up. Okay. All right, I don't know what the hell's going on with that shit. All right, clear all that crap out. Okay. So, let's damn it, I don't know. All right, we'll do this one. And I'll save the other two for tomorrow. So, okay. Start recording and get ourselves ready for the final story. Then we jump into Q&A for a while. We can just chit-chat BS and all that jazz. So it'll be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun, everybody. A lot of fun. All right, 66 people watching. Fan-freaking-tastic. I am happy with that. Okay, so where the hell is that at? Okay. All right. Snaps or traps, guys. Snaps or traps. Oh, my daughter is making noise. She's been very vocal lately. Very vocal. All right. Life under fuck. See, I always fuck this kind of shit up. Life under President Donald Trump has been interesting, to say the very, very least. And one of the more interesting parts of it to me isn't necessarily the Russia scandal that the liberal media, that MSNBC and CNN and HuffPo and BuzzFeed, that they're running with 24/7. That they're always talking about 24/7. It's the other side, the pro-Trump narrative, Fox News, and how they just ignore like everything, you know, unless it's the P tape, in which case Sean Hannity all the time brings that stuff up, right? Like, watch the supercut of Sean Hannity talking about P tape and hookers. You will laugh your ass off. And the whole point there is that Fox is a propaganda machine. They make no mistake about that. They used to be fair and balanced. They've since dropped that label a long time ago. And it even has gotten as far as this right here, where a shamed Fox News commentator quits, calls the network a propaganda machine. Now, this is, I mean, look at this guy, this image here. This is Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. Lieutenant Colonel. Ain't like no Michelle Malkin schmuck. You know what I mean? Ain't no Cucker Tarleson. All right, this is the Lieutenant Colonel who's like, I have made a serious error in my judgment. Now, it says here that Ralph Peters, a retired lieutenant colonel for the Army and until recently a Fox News strategic analyst, decided to leave his post at the station after finally having a moment of clarity. Peters' departure was first reported by BuzzFeed News, which obtained a copy of an email announcing his departure and detailing his reason to his colleagues, saying, "Today I feel that Fox News is assaulting our constitutional order and the rule of law while fostering corrosive and unjustified paranoia among viewers," Peters wrote in an email. "Over my decade at Fox, I was long proud of the association. Now I am ashamed." Now, obviously, he's referring to current events, but let's kind of take a quick hop in the old time machine and go back 10 years. Who was just coming out on Fox around 2009, 2010? Who was getting big? And I mean like big. Glenn Beck. Now, Glenn Beck was a fantastic pusher of fake news, right? Like, just, I mean, like, this dude would give you helicopter rides with fake news. Just he was wonderful at it, and he was able to spin narratives and bullshit to the point of where it effectively brought about the Tea Party, something that America is still dealing with almost a decade later. And as a result of that, like, you know, it took Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters until this point to kind of get there. But I mean, everyone hits that point sometime, but it's not like Fox is just all of a sudden now in the market of pushing BS. Every major news outlet pushes BS, let's be fair. But the kind of stuff Fox does, man, it just like, watch the documentary Outfoxed. All I'm going to say about that. Now, he continued by saying he thought Fox News denigrated from providing legitimate and much needed outlet for conservative voices to a mere propaganda machine for a destructive and ethically ruinous administration. Those are some shots being fired. It says, hard to believe it took him this long to realize it, but be assured he hasn't had the total change of heart. Peters, who was briefly suspended from the network several years ago for calling then President Obama a total pussy on live TV over his terrorism strategy, used his goodbye letter to take a dig at him one last time while simultaneously bashing Trump and Fox News hosts. And hey, listen, here's the thing. I can actually kind of respect this dude for firing a parting shot at Obama on his way out the door. I can. I really honestly can. Because what you've got here is you got him playing both sides. He's all like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. None of y'all cool. I'm out. Like, that's what he's doing, essentially. And he's just, everyone gets it. And that's good. That's actually really, really, really good. Because then it shows the average person who might be watching that, oh, wait, or might be reading or hearing about this, like, oh, wait, maybe not everyone at Fox is as partisan as they like, and maybe not everyone at MSNBC is as partisan as they say. So maybe there's a possibility there of having some kind of centered discourse here. And as a centrist myself, I'm in favor of that. Now, as it says here, as a Russia analyst for many years, it has also appalled me that hosts who made their reputations as super patriots and who justifiably savaged President Obama for his duplicitous folly with Putin now advance Putin's agenda by making light of the Russia penetration of our elections and the Trump campaign. Now, if you watch Fox News at all, especially in regards to this particular story, it is glossed over. It is just like, hey, what's going on? Is that a Russia story? See ya, bye. Like, it's just, they basically shy away from it on Fox and Friends. Hannity will bring it up, but again, as I said, watch the supercut of the hookers and P-tape stuff, and he uses it as a very kind of outrageous defense of Donald Trump. But I think that's why he does it. I think he keeps bringing it up because it's so outrageous in certain senses that it's just kind of like so stupid no one would believe that it's real. And as I've reportedly said, or I've said many, many times before, is I hope that it's real. Not for the reasons you might think, but because I do happen to think that if you are that mad at somebody and you pay a hooker to pee on the bed, that's kind of a baller move. Because it kind of is. So I'm just saying. If he's got like, you know, like a stack of rubles, I'd be all like, vote Trump 2020, man. Seriously, I'd consider it. Because like, just own up to that, man. But says Fox wasn't going to let Peters just trash talk the network. However, saying he was using his opinion as a weapon in order to gain attention. With Jeremy Barr getting a statement here from Fox saying that Ralph Peters is entitled to his opinion despite the fact he's choosing to use it as a weapon in order to gain attention. We are extremely proud of our top-rated primetime hosts and all of our opinion programming. Yeah, I understand why Fox has to say that, and I get that, but at the same time, come on. The only like person that's on your network that's even like remarkably centered is like Shep Smith, and you only pay to keep him around so you can still kind of argue that you're somewhat fair and balanced. And that's why you got him on at 4 p.m. when no one watches. He's up against Chris Matthews on MSNBC, and I don't even know who the hell's on at 4 p.m. at freaking CNN. I don't watch none of that crap. I do not like CNN. But here's the full statement. It's kind of a long one, but I think we owe it to the story to go through the whole thing. On March 1st, I informed Fox I would not renew my contract. The purpose of this message is twofold. First, I must thank each of you for your cooperation and support you've shown me over the years. Those working off camera, the bookers and the producers, don't often get the recognition you deserve, and I want you to know that I've always appreciated the challenges you face and the skill in which you master them. Second, I feel compelled to explain why I have to leave. 4 decades ago, I took an oath as a newly commissioned officer. I swore to support and defend the Constitution, and that oath did not expire when I took off my uniform. Today, I feel that Fox News is assaulting our constitutional order and rule of law, while fostering corrosive and unjustified paranoia among viewers. Over my decade with Fox, I was long proud of my association. Now I am ashamed. In my view, Fox has denigrated from providing a legitimate and much-needed outlet for conservative voices to a mere propaganda machine for a destructive and ethically ruinous administration. When primetime hosts who have never served our country in any capacity dismiss facts and empirical reality to launch profoundly dishonest assaults on the FBI, the Justice Department, the courts, the intelligence community in which I served, and not least a model public servant and genuine war hero such as Robert Mueller, all while scaremongering with lurid warnings of deep state machinations. I cannot be part of the same organization, even at a remove. To me, Fox News is now wittingly harming our system of government for profit. Damn. That's a statement. I don't care who you are. That is a burn. As a Russia analyst for many years, it also appalled me that hosts who made their reputations as super patriots and who justifiably savaged President Obama for his duplicitous folly with Putin now advance Putin's agenda by making light of Russian penetration of our elections and the Trump campaign. Despite increasingly pathetic denials, it turns out that the nothing burger has been covered with Russia dressing all along. Oh, man, he's just letting him have it. And by the way, as an intelligence professional, I can tell you that the Steele dossier rings true. And that's how the Russians do things. The result is that we have an American president who is terrified of his counterpart in Moscow. Oh, oh, wow, man. That is just, oh, geez, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. This is going to be interesting stuff here. I do not apply the above criticisms in full to Fox Business, where the numerous hosts retain a respect for facts and maintain a measure of integrity, nor is every host at Fox a propaganda mouthpiece has shown some courage. Some have shown courage. I have enjoyed and valued my relationship with Fox Business. I will miss the number of hosts and staff members. You're the grown-ups. I mean, like, yeah, I've never had an issue with Fox Business either. I also deeply respect the hard news reporters at Fox who continue to do their best as talented professionals in a poisoned environment. These are some of the best men and women in the business. So to you all, thanks, as our president's favorite world leader would say, das vidanya. Come on. Pro-Trump, anti-Trump, you gotta admit, that is like fucking hardcore. That is some burns. That is just like salting the earth on your way out. That is walking over with pictures of you fucking Sean Hannity's mother and just putting him out to like, bam! Like, that's hardcore right there. That is great. Okay, like, here's the deal. Fox obviously is going to protect their own. I get that. You know, they're going to protect their primetime lineup. But the thing is, every news organization is in it for money. Every pundit that comes on to talk is in it for money. They're all being paid to be there. But when you have a lieutenant colonel who pulls out the 4 decades ago, I swore an oath to the Constitution, and that did not stop when I took off my uniform, and he looks at the world around him, his business around him, and where it's gone, and what's being done, and what's being said, and how it's being swept under the rug, and how it's being treated, and he basically pulls like a double birdie and walks out, that is significant. That is incredibly significant. Now, unfortunately, they're going to be the diehard Trump supporters that are going to walk away from this and be like, well, he's just pulling the Russian narrative and none of it makes no damn sense. And you're right to have, you can have that opinion. Clearly, you're entitled to your opinion. And that's fine. I don't want you to even remotely think that, I don't, that's not the whole point. The point is Fox is becoming Breitbart but TV. We know this because they're running sensationalist headlines like Breitbart, and they're doing this to kind of capitalize on the outrage that people online that they like, that they want, that they crave in many cases. People on the right and people on the left, when it comes to these kind of stories, man, they freaking love that outrage. And I'm not gonna lie, when I look for stories to talk about, I look for things that are interesting or things that might in fact somewhat outrage me, because that is when I put on my best performance, when I'm telling you guys and talking to you guys. And that's a lot of what people want. They want to feel something. And so they kind of, sensationalist headlines will draw you in. It's clickbait, but you have to do it. Terrible. No one really wants it. No one really wants the whole story in the byline. Trust me, I get accused of that all the time. Like, I don't watch Matt's videos anymore because he puts the whole freaking story in the title. So it's like, well, you want me to clickbait, but you don't, but you get mad when I clickbait. That's the cycle I'm talking about. But they've become that version of Fox, that version of Breitbart, that version of the Gateway Pundit, that version of Drudge Report. You know, where they just keep creating this type of sensationalist. I don't want to call it nonsense. Not all of it's nonsense, but these sensationalist headlines that draw you in, and that permeates, or that transfers over to Fox, because Fox will look at that and go, but yeah, but they're getting views, they're making money. We got to do that. And don't get me wrong, 24/7 cable news has been fear-mongering and scaremongering for years. So like, they're pretty good at their own thing as well, but they know that the viewers are tuning in online. They know this. There's no denying that the numbers are shifting in that direction. So how do they keep them there? Well, they up their game. And that's one of the reasons why you can tell that Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters walked away. And I'll probably catch a little crap for saying this, but this man truly is an American hero. He is speaking truth to power, not the government, but the media, and saying that you have abandoned your objectivity. You've abandoned what you set out to do. And instead, you've replaced it with yes men and propaganda for the White House. And also, fuck you, I'm out. That's what I'm saying. Fox Scissor goes full ham. I should steal that headline. I should have you guys write my headlines. That's what we should do. We'll do that next. I'll have you guys just write my headlines. I got a free tea last night because I fucked up my order and I left it in the fridge all day. It's kind of bland. All right. Those are all the stories, guys. We gotta about maybe let's do 15. We'll do about 15 minutes of this general Q&A. So, let's see what you guys have to say. Matt did 9/11. I did no such goddamn thing. I was home in bed in San Diego on the morning of September 11th. You know, no, it's a passion tea. This is the passion tea. It's pretty good. It was free. So, yeah, Fox News will definitely rake them over the coals for that one now. Absolutely. Kind of curious how many people ended up, let's see. All right, we got 60. Not bad. Not bad. Can't really, it's showing me how many people are subscribed to, how many people subscribe on YouTube too. That's pretty interesting. Even though this is going over to a completely different channel. Let's see, hold on. What would you say the passion has died? Fuck you, that's funny. Fuck you, that's funny. That's pretty good. Yeah, how about we do a Q&A and we'll do a Discord. So here's the thing. If you guys want to jump in the Discord, and we'll just do Discord in the chat right there. You can jump on in, go into the general chat, and I'll pull people down and we can have conversation, talk about a couple things real quick. We will definitely try to make it quick, and we'll do a couple. And oh shit, there's already like a ton of people that are already in there. Cool beans. Let me just get my set. I wasn't anticipating doing a thing. I have my headphones still here, right? Yeah, I do. Under my phone and shit. So we'll do a little bit of that. It will be good. Okay. All right. So if you guys want to jump into the Discord, we've definitely I like looking through the logs to see who joined and who left. And one of my longtime people left. All right, that's unfortunate. Okay. Where's that at? Let me find that. Streaming. There we go. Okay. All right, let me go and drag somebody in. I know who I can drag in. I know who I'm gonna drag in. Hey, Porcelain. See if she has her mic on. It's my newest mod in the Discord. She's. Oh, hold on. I don't have.
Oh,
There we go.
I'm.
Oh crap! Is it not working? Oh wait, I know the problem. There we go. Try that again.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Yeah, we're good. I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you now. I had my speakers muted.
Oh,
That was the problem.
I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting this.
I know. That's why I pulled you in. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Actually, no.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring you in for a couple reasons.
Okay. Do you have any echo on here right now, or?
No. No,
Okay,
you sound
because I
fine.
had
You
a
sound-
crazy setup to listen to both the stream and Discord. Discord sometimes doesn't interact well with browser window audio, and so you end up with a very silly setup. So what's up?
Well, I just wanted to bring you in and introduce you to the people watching.
Hi, stream.
Porcelain's been around for a while. She's one of the mods here in Twitch as well as in the Discord. And I just want to thank her for her help the other night because it was kind of crazy in the Discord chat. She was trying to find people to come on and talk, and a lot of them just wanted to talk amongst themselves, which I thought was really funny.
Well, it shows that you have a sort of a community forming in the Discord where people not only come, initially to interact with you, but also then they end up making friends amongst each other and stuff. And that's actually a really good sign. There's a lot of fandoms where people don't end up connecting amongst each other. So it's good. It's good when they want to chat amongst themselves.
Yeah, that's I spent some time over on the YouTube Saints on their Discord, and like you can go in at almost any time of day and you will find like a bunch of people talking, and that's always cool. Like that's kind of the thing I'd like to see more on my Discord, would be more people having this kind of random conversations that like, not like I can just like I have to go start one and then bring people in. I probably should do more of that myself, but because then I feel like if I do that, then it becomes all about me being in there or something. And I'm just like, nah, I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be more casual, just like pop in, pop out sort of thing.
Yeah, the dynamics can be a bit silly sometimes. I find also on the Dank Brigade that depending on which way the wind is blowing, entering that server or entering one of their voice channels can cause a lot of upset.
I'm not part of that particular. I'm not on the Discord. The Dank Brigade.
Don't worry about not being in the Dank Brigade.
Now, does this have to do with Count Dankula, or am I just not liking that brigade?
Yeah, no, it's Count Dankula's server, but don't worry, you're not missing anything deeply intellectual or enriching.
That's good, I guess. Is it just shit posting and memes? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, and then after the developments earlier today about Dankula in court, for a moment we turned into like a Grecian or Roman republic, and then it just collapsed in on itself afterwards.
Was it just like a bunch of people sitting around going like, "Here's how we get him out"?
There was some serious thought and planning and thought and planning, and then people remembered that there are image board images to repost, and then at that point discussion fell apart. So yeah, don't worry, you're not missing much.
I completely understand that. Well, okay, I just wanted to harass you for a second and then and then drag you in. But definitely I want to say thank you because you put in a lot of work and a lot of effort, and so I just want to give you some recognition for that.
Of course, thank you very much. And I think the feedback from the call-in show was that everybody really liked that as an idea, and I think next time, definitely now that everybody's sort of on board for the format or the idea of it, we can maybe pull it off a bit smoother. But overall, positive feedback for it. Mostly
Good.
positive.
No, I enjoyed doing it the other night. I want to do it more often and whatnot. You know, maybe I mean, what I could do essentially is I could do the first half was the news. I kind of broke format tonight and like went off in like this 10-minute rant about homeschool people. You know, which fuck them. But no, it's it could and then yeah, like format it properly because I always abandon my own format and then do the chat stuff. So we'll definitely do that again, and I'll definitely hit you up and be like, I need you to moderate it because I'm gonna be doing a birthday stream
Oh.
pretty soon because my birthday is in a week. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's in 6 days. So I'm probably gonna do it like next weekend. I'm just gonna figure out a time and then promote it, and then I'll probably need someone to be like, "Hey, what's up there, Portland?"
Oh yeah,
So
no. I'll be free and available. I am the internet's favorite odd job assistant, handyman, secretary, and it's fun times. I recently got an offer actually, in the if by somebody to price. I think it's 10 long boxes of comics, so that's gonna be fun.
nice, nice. That's some work. That's some
Yeah,
work right there.
hopefully we'll not develop asthma. Hopefully we'll find some curious things, you know. Yeah, it's always fun. Hopefully no hentai or um that kind of stuff.
I actually have one hentai in comic form, and it was sent to me by a friend. He's an artist out of Brazil, and he did this Resident Evil Nemesis hentai. Uh,
What?
yeah, we're
Out of
Jill Val.
every subject in the world you could go with. What?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's here somewhere. It's like in a box somewhere. It's from a long time ago. He wrote it, and it's basically like Jill Valentine fucks the Nemesis, and full on tentacle porn. Like,
So does it end with like Nemesis throwing his head back and yelling stars?
I can't tell. It was all in Portuguese.
Oh,
He
okay.
just
Okay.
he's from Brazil, so he just sent me he just sent it to me and everything, and I'm all like, oh no, he didn't send it. He'd come up to the States. We went to E3 together, and so he had come up and he had brought it and gave it to me, and I'm all like, "Good, that's a cool thing. If you ever get really famous as an author or comic drawer, or comic artist or whatever, I'll be like, hey, I have your hentai for Resident Evil Nemesis. The weird things we collect in this world.
Yeah, no, I do notice that people have a tendency to try to hide their hentai by taking their long boxes and like scattering it amongst the long boxes, and then somebody eons later, you know, is sorting through it and just runs into it, and it can be startling, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I used to yeah, I had a guy I worked with was uh worked we worked at the theater together, but he worked on the swap meet side of things and I worked on the theater side. So
Hmm.
he would always collect porn and collect women's underwear. He would like that was his thing. That was his whole thing. You'd go into his like it would be like a storage container, like a shipping container, and that was their office, and also his I think home like 4 nights out of the week. Like he owned a house. He legitimately owned a house, but he didn't have a driver's license, and it was a clear on the other side of town. So he's like, "I'll just crash here for 4 nights and then go home. It's all good." But you go in there, and there would be like women's underwear, like in bikini bottoms, like sewn together and like strung up around like their decoration. I'd go in there and I'd watch him like smoke meth and like watch old porn VHS tapes to see which ones were good, which ones were bad, and the hairier the vagina, the better. That was his whole thing. And I'm like, why are you smoking meth? And he's all like, I probably shouldn't. So he'd put it down and he'd grab some pot and smoke that to even himself out. He's is
Oh.
I At this point I literally have no idea if he's alive or dead. But he
Yeah,
is one of the most
there's about a
interesting
50-50
motherfuckers.
shot.
He's one of the most interesting motherfuckers, man. He was an army ranger, so he's like, he's tiny, he's wiry, but he will fucking murder you. That's why we loved having him around. We would just sick him on people. Go get him, Bill. Go get him. Like let him off the leash and shit. Like, is he high on meth? All right, good. Foams at the mouth a bit more when he's high on meth.
Yeah, see, I'm just thinking like those I don't know what the name of it is, but like the triangles of fabric that you sort of sew together like at the corners or something to form long like I don't know what to call it, like you hang them up for decorations or stuff. That's just how I imagine how he sewed the underwear together, because it's kind of triangular shaped.
Kind of, yeah, but
Yeah.
he's a weird guy. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. I'm pretty sure I would know if he was dead. But he's also really, he's like a really cuddly, like a really cuddly teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really fucking funny that he would end up,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's people like that that always give us the best inspiration for writing and stuff, you know. Those are the people we need out there in the world to inspire the next generation of script writers and novelists and yeah.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Okay, no, I thought I heard something outside.
Oh,
So, oh, no, never mind. But okay, let me go and grab a couple more people.
uh-oh.
No. We'll just do one at a time and whatnot.
Okay. I'll
But
go away. I'll
no,
go away.
I sound so bad. It's like, yeah, it's like, hey, thanks for coming in. Get the fuck out. No, I'm kidding. You're great. You do a great job, and I appreciate everything that you do, and always getting our backs. And I want to make sure you get that recognition. So Porcelain, everyone, do you have a YouTube channel? You have a Twitter? You want people to go check you out?
Oh, well, okay. So Porcelain Chips, last time I made a video was like a long time ago, and I never really got my channel going again much since. I made like a few videos under Porcelain Chips on YouTube for Gamergate, and that was about it. I have like a professional lighting setup in like a whole corner for shooting, and it's just every time like I go to do something, I do it, and then I look at the raw footage afterwards. I'm like, I wanna redo the whole darn thing.
That happened to me for a while, but I'm content with where things are right now, so I'm good with that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I know it's kind of a war of mind over matter kind of, it's in your head for the most part. It's not really like if the footage is literal crap or whatnot, but I'm still in that early stage of battling that. But the big inspiration is, I look at your channel growth and I look at people like Chris Reagan. This is a quick thing I'll babble about, and then I promise I'll run away. But Chris Reagan, I used to end up on a lot of streams with him, like before he had a camera. And
Oh, I remember those days. Yeah.
yeah, when he was just a microphone. And he used to tell everybody that he had plans, that the minute he got us set up together, he had like plans, and he's gonna do something. And everybody was kind of nodding along like, okay, Chris, whatever you say. And then you see where he is now. So I keep trying to remind myself when it comes to projects and stuff, it's like, it's the one you least suspect that does, that you can't, if Chris, the disembodied voice on the streams, can do it, you can do it. It can be done. Yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
So
no, Chris is a good example of what can be done.
yeah.
I'm an example of what should not be done most of the time, but still stumbles by okay anyway. So there you go on that one. But no, Chris is a good guy.
I'm still envious of your production schedule, though.
I just don't have friends, so I think that's like the biggest thing. No, I'm kidding. No. I work from home. I've been working full time for 3 years now. So you just kind of work it in your day. Not every day works out great, but keeping to the streams is definitely, it helps. So
Yeah. No, but okay. Well, I'll saunter off so you can go grab other humans.
all right. Well, thanks a lot.
Right.
I will definitely talk to you later on. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye.
Hey, what's going on, the Digi?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. What's on your mind? What you want to talk about?
I'm wondering if you could let Portia know what her mod roles are, because she's texted. Hold up, could I mute the stream? Okay, there we go. She texted me that she didn't really know what she can do with like making people regulars or what she could do about that.
I'll have to talk to the other staff members because I don't fucking know either, man. Like they run that shit. They're the ones that approached me like, hey, what if we helped you run a Discord? And I'm just like, sure. And they're like, we can help you set all this stuff up. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. And they're like, we'll do all the work for you. I'm like, that is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And then I'm all like, but wait, what do you want out of this? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, I don't believe that, but I'm gonna go with it right now anyway.
That sounds cool.
No, the guys I work with, they work with a lot of other people, and they kind of they help
They
out a
aren't.
lot. They really help out in a lot of ways, and they have a lot of good ideas for a lot of stuff, and they're good peeps. So
Yeah.
they've been very helpful, and I've been very appreciative. So is there anything else you want to chat, or is that the only thing?
That's the only thing. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Have yourself a good one. Thanks for the bits
You're
tonight.
welcome. Anytime.
All right, have a good one, man.
See ya.
Must be some quality wood.
That's an odd way to start the conversation. What's up, Alex?
Oh, hi.
You lie. You're
Sorry,
live,
we were
motherfucker.
having a weird conversation.
And I pulled you out of it. I saved you. That's how it works, man. It's I winged man your ass. Don't worry, I'll drag you back in when it's over. No,
Well, that's one way to start it.
that's what you have to look forward to now. Going back to talking about wood.
Yep.
No, so what's on your mind tonight, man?
Not much. I've just been hanging out. I was wondering what you think would be a good way to solve the opioid epidemic that's going on.
Well, I don't believe that helicopter rides are going to be the solution that some people want for the dealers, because the dealers are not just, 2-bit punks on the street. What you've got is pharmaceutical companies that are pushing this shit. Doctors overprescribe people all the time. And because doctors get a kickback from these companies. They get flown out to conferences where they get put up in these nice hotels, and they get taught how to sell this kind of product. So someone comes in and they're just like, man, I've got a toothache, and the dentist is like, oh, here, or the doctor's like, here, take this Vicodin. All right, this is like a 4-month supply. Take 2 a day. Like, do you need that much Vicodin? I had my wisdom teeth pulled out, and I was on Vicodin for a week, and I ended up not opting to renew my prescription because that shit felt good, like too good, like scary good. And I was like, I'm not willing to give that kind of control over to some pill.
It's kind of scary how easy it is to get opioids.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, it's not like opioids are anything new, what, like Turkey opium farms and opium dens in like ancient China and shit.
Yeah, opioid wars with England.
Yeah, I mean, right now, who's the number one producer right now? The number one producer of heroin. It's Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That's where the poppy fields are. That's where they're growing. And even though we're there policing Afghanistan, we allow this shit to kind of continue. You want to cut it off at the fucking source, man. You fucking cut it off in Afghanistan. A war that we're not going to win by any stretch of the imagination. The one that we've been in for 17 years. But I'd argue there's some kind of financial gain, I think, reading off of it. So Trump's saying he wants to take out the dealers. I understand the mentality behind that. But what you have to do is you have to fight the disease, not the symptoms, right? And because the thing is, remember when it was like meth was the craze? Now we're off of meth again. I feel like meth has taken a back seat, even though it's super easy to make and anyone can do it, but they're worried about opioids. Never mind, like, not a year goes by where I don't hear about some like portable meth lab in someone's backpack that gets found at a Walmart.
Yeah, that happens in my hometown in Oklahoma quite a bit.
Yeah, the shake and bake method is cheap and it's a bit dangerous, but it's effective. You could sit there and put a little bit into a 20-ounce bottle and shake it up for about an hour, and then you have about $125 worth of meth. So, I mean, and it's crude meth, but it gets the job done. But no, we're all concerned about people on prescriptions, because who are the primary people who get hooked on prescriptions? And it's not the lower income people necessarily. Even though it has a huge, I mean, I'm sure they do. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they do. But ultimately, I would look at something like that and say, like, well, is it, like, you have to start fighting for one, legalize weed everywhere. Like, that's step one. Legalize pot at a federal level, tax it, regulate that shit. For good measure, throw in prostitution. Okay, if you're gonna give someone a vice they're gonna blow money on, they might as well get blown too. You know what I mean? So just do that. And then start realizing that like the trillions of dollars or the billions of dollars that are spent on this failed war on drugs, repurpose that shit elsewhere. Instead of actively trying to shut a lot of this stuff down, we continue being vigilant, obviously, but we've spent money on nothing. Do you know how many DEA agents die a year? Right? Like a fair amount of them die a year. And they die, like some of them die in like Kentucky, in the mountains, because the pot dealers out there, the pot growers, they booby trap the hell out of the place. So these DEA agents go in there and they die. So human life is wasted. Money is wasted. More importantly, human life, obviously, but money is wasted. Human life is wasted for no purpose. The cartels still ship it in many different ways. They're putting a pound of meth on a drone and flying it over the border, but yet Trump wants to spend $25 billion on a fucking wall, right? All I have to do is just get a trebuchet on the other side and just go in this launch, and just put a GPS tracker in that shit and hope to God that it lands somewhere that doesn't get eaten by wolves or something. I don't know. You got to start doing education, like drug treatment as a big one, like aggressively push drug treatment. But because drug addiction, as like alongside with mental health, they're internal issues. They're internal problems that you're not going to be able to see strictly on the outside. Mm-hmm. And as a result, it just ends up getting overlooked.
Yeah, I was reading charts on deaths related to illegal substances, and the numbers have gone up since the war on drugs that Nixon started. It's just getting worse.
Yeah, because it was never designed. It's a war you'll never win. It was never designed to win. It was designed to appear like we're doing something. That's all it is. It's just like this is completely useless and costs all this money. Yeah, but it makes people think we're doing something, and that way they kind of just look the other way on everything else. It's there could be a lot of that. Could also be start really going after the pharmaceutical companies too. Don't allow them to give doctors kickbacks, because doctors will charge you money as a way to, they get money for selling the shit. So it's just a whole bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from what I've read, opioids really seem like the real drug that leads to other drugs like weed. It's doesn't really get you started on other stuff as much.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Because pot's kind of like, yeah, pot's nice. Pot's a gateway drug. Not really. Pot's a gateway to obesity. I could see that being a thing, but saying pot's a gateway drug is just laughable.
It's like alcohol or tobacco. It's not like, well, I personally am more against tobacco than marijuana, just because of the actual harm it does to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I drink occasionally. I don't really drink often anymore. I'd prefer to get high, just because, the hangover is way less the next day. And I don't feel like I want to, run my head over with my car. Yep. Well, all right, man. Thanks for coming in. I'm going to try to get through a couple more people here before 11:30. But I appreciate you coming in, and we'll definitely have to do this again. So Alex, everyone, thank you very much, Alex. All right, I'm pulling someone at random here. Who am I going to pull at random? Who's it going to be? All right, it's going to be Kevin McLeod. What is up? Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? If he's even there. I just pull at random. I don't think he's there. No, I don't think he's fucking there. All right, I'm dropping down to AFK. I'll grab somebody else. I just like grabbing him. Okay, let's grab. Hey, Streaming Man, you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Or Spirit Man, sorry. I see your name.
That's all right.
I'm streaming. Ha 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 ha. This guy streams. What's going on, man? What's on your mind?
Nothing much. My birthday's on Friday, and I'm excited. 21.
Ooh, good times, good times. Gonna go out and what's the term the kids are using now? Is it turnt? Is that the
I have
term?
no clue.
The kids are go get lit. AF
To be honest,
is
I don't. To be honest, I don't really follow the trendy crowd. Sometimes I'm more of the iDubbbz of the internet, but not
Sure.
entirely.
I no, I get that. I get
Dubs
that.
other than
It's
iDubbbz.
when I was 21, it was just go get fucking hammered. You know, like that wasn't like any kind of special terminology for it. It was all like, hey, let's go to the bar. Okay, for one intense purpose, to get fucking hammered. Yep. Like that was all good. I remember my 21st. I was drunk for like 3 days and bought an Xbox. So, hey Herman Taco Bear, thank you very much for following. I'm trying to figure this whole Twitch thing out. It's much different than YouTube, and everything else. I like it actually a lot better. It's very interesting. So, but yeah, sorry. You're 21st. So okay. So what are your plans? What are you gonna go do?
My plan is to go out, have some pizza with some friends, and then head out to the cinema to watch Pacific Rim Uprising, which I don't really have the highest expectations of, considering that the directorial duties have switched gears, and what I've seen so far doesn't quite match up to the original in terms of how things operated in that universe. Transformers Redux.
No, that's true. I won't argue with you in terms of that. But let me ask you a question. Have you seen the show Spartacus? It was a Starz show. It had 4 seasons.
From what I saw, at least.
Oh, I couldn't hear any of
Probably
what
need
you
to go
just
back
said.
through. I saw a little bit of Spartacus.
Okay. Well, Stephen DeKnight, who is directing Pacific Rim Uprising, is the guy who created and executive produced and ran Spartacus. So now here's what you're probably going like, yeah, but the first episode of Spartacus was crap. The first 3 episodes of Spartacus were crap. And I mean like turn off the show, never come back to it again type crap. It is a bit of a slog to get through some of those things. But by the time he meets Varro, Jai Courtney's character in season 1, it's fucking good. And plus Andy Whitfield was great. So sad cancer took him. But anyway, season 3 finale of Spartacus is one of the best hours of television I've seen in a very long time. Very, very good show. And everything else. It's solid whole way through. But just to kind of put it, maybe something more recent that you've seen. Are you a fan at all of the Marvel Netflix series?
Which Netflix series?
Daredevil?
I'm very much a fan of the Daredevil Netflix series.
He's the one who did the first season.
I actually didn't know that. All right.
Yeah. So that's again they're because it's it's Universal with Pacific Rim, and it's not Disney or whatever. They're not going to cross promote that shit. But yeah, Stephen DeKnight, this is that was the show he got brought in kind of last minute to do Daredevil season 1 as the executive producer, and I've watched that like 3 times now. So I love season 1 of Daredevil, and I would say that so I would say that very much is going to be something you may want to look out for. I don't know how this. I feel like this one's trying to open it up to be a franchise over being anything else. That's what I think is going to happen. But I'm definitely excited to see more. I'm going to try to go see it this weekend. I don't know if I'll be able to. It was hell for me to even try to go see. It was hell for me to try to go see what's it called, Tomb Raider last weekend. So, but all right, I'm gonna grab someone else because I'm gotta go and get my my daughter here in a few minutes. So I gotta try to get through at least one more person. Let's see here, but yeah, thanks a lot, man, for coming in, and we'll talk again soon. Okay.
Take care, Matt.
Thank you. All right, the final person of the night. Who will it be? Who will it be? Who will it be? I'll try Kevin again. Swear to God, if Kevin's not here. Kevin? Kevin!
Yeah,
There you go. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
not much, honestly. I was just occupied for a bit. I didn't even know I was AFK.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna make you the last person of the night because I have to go and do the whole dad stuff.
Okay.
So I was gonna be like, what's your question, Kevin? What's on your mind?
It's regarding what's currently going on. Apparently, how if if Trump fires Mueller, what would exactly happen?
Well, okay. So if Trump fires Mueller, speculation. Essentially, what I believe would happen would be if he in order to fire Mueller, things have to happen though. So he has to basically get rid of Jeff Sessions. Basically, at this point, he would have to. Then he'd have to bring in somebody else. Then he'd have to fire Rod Rosenstein because Rosenstein will not fire Mueller because he put Mueller in place. Then the person who's chosen to replace Rod Rosenstein would have to be a person who would in fact fire Mueller. If he fires Mueller, basically large portions of Congress are going to completely lose their shit. And as Lindsey Graham said, it would become the beginning of the end of his presidency. And I have a feeling that being the fact that we are currently in an election year, there would be a lot of people who would be pressuring the representatives and the senators to very, very much do something. So it would not work out well if Mueller got fired. The best thing Trump can do at this point is just let it ride out because it may not be as bad as people are making it out to be. I mean, looking at all the relevant data that we have right now is surrounding Jared Kushner. It's entirely possible if Trump plays his cards right, he could just pin the entire thing on Jared Kushner and make Kushner go away, therefore making the investigation go away, and then ending his daughter's marriage. But hey, it keeps Trump out of jail, so there we go on that one. But no, I mean, I think Kushner has some serious issues, and I think Kushner has been not forthcoming with a lot of information that we're now finding out about, and it's not good.
Yeah, I kind of figured that much.
But that's really about it. I mean, Trump attacking Mueller on Twitter right now is a play. It's a alpha male play sort of thing. It's like kind of come at me, bro. Not really what you want to say to the special counsel who's currently investigating your organization's records. Also not what you want to do with the counsel that's, George Papadopoulos has opted to work for, and Papadopoulos feels slighted by Donald Trump because Papadopoulos is admitted that essentially he lied to the FBI on behalf of Trump, not because Trump ordered him to, but because he wanted to be loyal to Trump. So he felt there was a connection to Trump. And then Trump was all like, "Who's this guy's a coffee boy?" And it's all like he was on like your national security team or your foreign policy team or some shit like that. Like it wasn't just a coffee boy. They keep trying to minimize and downplay who these people were. If it ever comes up anything with Rex Tillerson, they'll be like, "Well, Rex didn't. Rex was like what? He was a secretary? Come on, he took notes. He made coffee. That was it. Like they'll just try to downplay and mimic and limit everything these people have done because then it takes a lot of the pressure off of them. But I can tell you right now, the pressure has to be on Trump. Like, it has to be on Trump.
Yeah, it's always going to be that way in these years.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen next. My personal question on it, though, mostly boils down to whether or not our country can, in fact, survive it. But with that, we're coming up on 1 hour and 58.5 minutes. I'm going to wrap this thing up because I have got to go take care of my daughter. I can hear her crying right now. But Kevin, thank you very much for coming in, man. We'll definitely have to talk again soon.
All right.
And I will definitely talk to you later on. Have a good one, man. All right. So for everyone else out there who's been watching, I appreciate you guys hanging out for the last 2 hours. If you have anything you want to do, jump into the Discord. You can ask me personally, or check back tomorrow night for another episode of Rustled. If you want to submit any stories, you can do so mundanemat.com/submit, or hit me up on Twitter at mundanemat. and I will talk to you all later. Have yourself a grand night, and peace out.